I was wrong in doing what I did.
No! Are you listening?
Hang on, I can't even catch my breath. Hang on.
Sean here, and I made this video yesterday, and of course I have to do it again. And of course I left the Bluetooth on connected to my car, so it sounded like I was in an echo chamber. I think this is an interesting video because we're going to talk about Lorne versus getting older. He doesn't like to be told he's getting older. The dude's in his 50s. He looks like he's in his 80s. He wears glasses. He looks like great-grandfather Uncle Creepy. But he doesn't like the feeling of getting old. And I think the number one reason, if I'm being honest, is because Lorne is going to be one of the oldest people in his family. He's going to be the generation that's next to die. He wants to remain that so-confused kid so he can continue to use that. The dude is 50-something, looking like he's 80, wears glasses looking like great-grandfather Uncle Creepy, doesn't have anything going for him, and when the rest of the elders in his family, mom, aunt, uncle, when they die, he's no longer that kid. Because if he could, he'd be the kid until he was dead, on his deathbed. I'm so confused. I don't know what happened. The dude is the reverse Peter Pan, the Lost Boys, except for Lorne it would be the Lost Girls, and he wouldn't be protecting them, and they wouldn't be part of his gang, they would be part of his harem. As long as Lorne is not in that generation, he can still feel like, oh, I'm still getting my footing, still gonna find my way, gonna be a country music star, got my whole life ahead of me. Hey mom, I know you're in a coma, but I want you to hear me, I'm about to be a country music star. About to get my trailer, woman's gonna come out here and I'm gonna get married. Again, I made that failure to launch video. Imagine being his mom and all you wanted was some grandchildren and for Lorne to be married and happy. And he couldn't even do that. He never brought a woman home, not a real woman. He brought a phone home where he's on Bluetooth and he's got her on speaker, and when he and everybody in the room is like, dude, that's not a real woman. And of course, Lorne's like, yeah, it is. We're married. You got married over the phone, Lorne. I sure did. The dude has no friends. And he doesn't even care. He's never stopped and looked around and goes, I wonder when I die if anyone is going to be at my funeral. He can't afford his funeral. Think about this. He cannot afford his funeral. He will most likely be cremated and put in some pauper's grave somewhere, or unclaimed ashes where he'd be put. I don't even think they have an unclaimed ashes section. I think they might just cremate him, and if we had anything to do with it, we'd go there and be like, look, we're not paying for it, but when you're done, if you want to flush those down the toilet, feel free to do so. And I think we mentioned this before, I want my ashes spread at Kayla's house. Well, you know she's not real. Yes, she was. She was a real woman playing Kayla. I want it spread at that house so she always remembers me. Lorne, she never lived there. Yeah, but she was present there at one point. So spread my ashes. Nah, we're good. Why don't you flush them down the toilet for us? Part of the reason this man-child hates our videos it's because they speak truth. It's because he knows he's stupid. He knows he's pathetic. He knows he's desperate. And to hear people actually point that out, it makes it real. The bar for Lorne's success we've talked about, it's on the ground. And he can't even put 1 foot over it. He can't even halfway reach the low standards he set. The guy, again, giggled when the third Casey looked at his finances and was like, man, you are negative even in your checking and savings. How are you making it through your everyday life? How can you not budget? When everyone's gone, Lorne, what are you going to do? Are you going to be John Doopy? Are you going to be the guy on the street? The guy, I think he told her his name's John Dupay, and then Chris corrected him and it's John Doopy. He can't even have his last name dignified. He's another pedo. who ruined his own life. Now, I do have some sympathy because of what happened. He never got to reconcile with his parents or his brother. But at the same time, you did this to yourself. You exposed who you really are. And Lorne, you exposed who you really are. In the latest Casey call, man, you are just owning yourself. You should just keep your mouth shut. Because everything you say incriminates. You're just the worst. We all think about legacy. And we all have big dreams about what our legacy is going to be. For those of us that are married with children, our legacy is our children. And their children. And their children's children. And it goes on and on and on. And we hope at one point they don't forget who we are. I remember my grandparents. I don't remember my great-grandparents because I was too young. Now my ex will remember her great-grandmother because she was in her 20s when her great-grandmother passed. But most of us, we don't remember our great-grandparents. Lorne doesn't put much focus on anyone except his mom, Aunt Sharon, any of the women that treat him like the man-child he wants to be treated as. Imagine if he dies and Roy is there. Just imagine if Roy is still angry at him, what he would do with Lorne's ashes. Nobody really likes to get old. I mean, you get older and you get softer, and you're willing to forgive people a little easier because you remember what those young people are going through. You remember how it affected you, how long it affected you, and how bad you wish you could take back whatever it is that you did. As you get older, you sustain more injuries. Your body starts to slow down. And I'm active, and now I'm struggling just to walk because of my stupidity, and whatever I did to my knee, hopefully I'll find something out on Thursday. But you get older, you get injuries, and you don't have anybody to take care of you. My kids are too young to take care of me. When my mom had cancer, I tried to take care of her as much as possible. My sister did more. My dad, we were always in the hospital or at the nursing home. You try to be there for them. Now me, I hope my kids never have to take care of me. And I've thought, if it gets to that point where they're having to take care of me, will I off myself so they don't have to do it? I don't know. I mean, that's just a thought. I wonder if all parents have that thought. Like, I'll do anything for them not to have to take care of me. If Lorne had children and they had jobs, he would use them. And we know this to be true because he's a piece of shit. As men get older, sex drive is a concern for some. Me, I'm pretty sure when I'm dead, I'm going to be trying to have sex with the coffin, even when I'm dead. But Lorne, he's had performance issues. When you've got to tell a woman proudly, it is literally standing up on its own. I don't think that's something I'd ever tell a woman. I'm pretty sure anybody I was with would just assume if things were hot and heavy that would be the case. I don't believe Lorne for a minute that he had sex with an older woman. I can't think of an older woman that would see this kid, this creepo kid, and go, oh yeah, I gotta have a piece of that. Now maybe they tried. I think Lorne would freak out. He would probably, when he was putting the condom on. Do you see the hint, Lorne? I think the problem is he wouldn't recognize if he was slowing down in that area. I bet he sees himself still as this buff hunk that can get any woman in the world. He just chooses not to. It's his decision not to do that. If any of us were getting catfished as much as he did, we would probably have an epiphany. We'd have a life-changing come-to-Jesus moment. A defining moment where it occurs to us that we have got to get out. We've got to go meet people. I've got to get a real woman. I do not want to die alone. I don't. Some of us will, and I might be one of them. I don't think I would ever get married again after what it felt like to be tied down and what it felt like to have to answer your text messages all the time and be at someone's beck and call when they call you. I just don't think I could do it. I don't think Lorne could do it either because he wouldn't know how to handle it. He would just get angry. Anytime there was a real situation in a relationship with his friends, with a girlfriend, he would go right to anger. All he has is anger. And that's going to be with him until he dies. I told you I was going to make a series called When Your Mom Dies First. I want to make sure it's comprehensive and it's eye-opening. I'll give you an example of how I think Lorne would be. One time we came into his room at assisted living with my children, I did. And there was porn playing on the computer and I had to shut it off. He had a mini stroke. He was in the hospital. He was confused. I was so confused. He was on the gurney, and one of the nurses came in, and my dad, who had been kind of out of it, sits up and goes, "What's your name?" Any young woman, and I think Lorne would be like that. Now, thankfully, he wouldn't be like my father and give tens of thousands of dollars to these women at Cracker Barrel, and that's a story. Oh my God, what a saga that was. And I told you about the guy I knew, we'll call him Gifford, rhymes with Gifford, who took out a credit card so he could continue to tip this woman at Chili's. I mean, he maxed his credit card out. His wife found out about it. He tried to make his wife dress like that woman. The way he found his wife, and I'm making a point. The way he found his wife was his best friend said, "Oh, I'm done with her. You can have her." She had no place to live. She got with him. He's an abuser. He kept her prisoner, pretty much. He said she didn't want to get a job, but it was because he told her, "You're not getting a job. I don't want you speaking to anybody else." I think that would be Lorne. I think if he could, he would take out a credit card. He would max it out on some chick that was paper or plastic, or, "Well, thank you for coming today to Cracker Barrel, Lorne. Oh, you know my name? Big tipper." Lorne just refuses to admit that he's getting old. It's something we all deal with. It's something we have to deal with. We all have one thing in common: we die. And I wonder sometimes if Lorne even knows he's going to die, if he just refuses, because I do think he's a sociopath. He doesn't plan ahead. So he doesn't have any plan whatsoever on what he's going to leave behind, how he's going to deal with it. It wouldn't surprise me if he tries to file bankruptcy again. I mean, look at him. Look at where he's at. Look at where you're at now. Look at where he's at in his life, financially especially. How quick do you think Roy would swoop in and just try to take it? You think any of his family wants anything to do with him or his land? About the only person would be Roy, and Roy might, well, no, he probably wouldn't be able to fix that thing up, but he would at least try, give it a real try. I think eventually he's going to be broken down, he's going to be sick, he can't afford to pay any of it. I don't know how that works. I don't know what the limit is for care, but he can't afford any of it. No way he can afford independent insurance. When he's in the hospital, he can't make his payments. I don't even know if he can make his payments now. The guy doesn't really have payments on anything. Well, he does, looking at his bank account and what he owes. But in terms of utilities, I mean, he goes to the bathroom outside. I honestly thought he was going to say there's a hole in the bottom of my trailer where I just go, and the entire undercarriage of it is just filled with crap. The dude has no shame, and the things he would do as he got closer to death, I don't know. If they told Lorne, "You have a year to live," would he go out and finally try to live his Uncle Creepy fantasy? I don't know. But if they told him, "Lorne, you got about 1.5 to 2 years to live," he would stop going to probation and parole. Or, knowing Lorne, he would go there and go, "Oh, you got to take me off probation. You got to get me some reprieve. They told me I only got this amount of time to live." I think any normal family without a Lorne, if they found out that one of their siblings had cancer, I'm watching somebody go through it right now, and they're driving back and forth from Texas or flying down to Texas. They're taking FMLA. They're trying really hard to be there for them and take care of them and try to help them get better. If one of his siblings had cancer, he would either not care about it or even think about it, or he would drive up there. I'll live with you. Hey, I'm here. I'll live with you. I'll help take care of you. You're going to have to find another place to live, Lorne. You're not living with us. Well, why not? He talks about living without money, and we know he doesn't have any money. I wonder what he would do for food if he would just eat bologna. I think he might. I don't know if he would drink just water. I think if he was told he only had a certain amount of time to live, he'd go back to being an alcoholic. He'd be praying to God wearing that stupid fucking Bluetooth that he was going to have a new catfish, that he could use it. Why don't you come on out? I'm sick. I really need somebody. They could say, Lorne, I'm a catfish. Well, come on out. He's so desperate that he's finally telling the third Casey, Blue Boy, all of his past transgressions, thinking there's going to be some kind of sympathy, or that this is going to make her finally come out. She's going to see the hard life he's had. There's just no hope that he's going to have a partner when he dies. None. Lorne won't make anything real, so he'll be in debt, womanless, jobless, maybe homeless. I'm not 100% sure how things are going to work out for him, but I think we all think that would be it if he lives long enough. And people like Lorne live way too long, while the good people die young. Some of you think he's going to be dead in the next 2 years. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Maybe he starts drinking again and crashes his car. Maybe he has a heart attack and a rage-filled virgin kind of rant to whoever the catfish is. He would have a heart attack and blame the catfish. I just think Lorne needs some help, some real help, or he's going to die alone, and his ashes will be flushed down the toilet or scattered somewhere that he definitely wouldn't have wanted, and no one would mourn, and I don't think his siblings would come to his funeral. Here lies Lorne Lynn Armstrong, friendless, penniless, with nothing left to his name, no legacy. R.I.P. wouldn't even be on there. And I think Lorne is going to be roasting in hell if there is one, but I don't even think the devil would want him. Nope, you're going to purgatory, kid, where nobody has to deal with you. That's my incredibly harsh video for today. I love you guys. I will see you in the next one.